Welcome to the 2025 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this brief Wednesday, March 19, 2025 edition. Just going to be talking about the Fed rates cut meeting, the Fed rate cut, rates unchanged meeting today that happened on Wednesday, March 19, 2025. The Fed decided to hold the interest rate steady. No surprise here, as I told you that there is a chance that there's still two rate cuts coming later this year. But I told you that the first meeting right this time that they will hold it unchanged, and they did. Left rates where they are at between 4.25% and 4.5%. So there's no surprise there. The next meeting is in May, so we have to really think about that in May, whether or not we're going to see that first cut. I don't think we're going to see it in May either. I think the first chance for any type of rate cut, and it's only going to be 25 basis points, is looking more like I said, once again, in September, October timeframe. That's when they're going to be looking at getting that first cut, if they do it at all. So, honestly, what could be happening is that they could be pondering a rate increase, really. But that remains to be seen. Nobody knows right now. But I do think that that's on the table too as well. But we won't see that till later this year. And in 2026, we're going to feel all the effects of the tariffs, everything else that's going to be going on, the layoffs between all the different governments and all the different private sector companies. So all that has yet to play out. And that's why 2026 looks to be a bumpy road. It looks to be a rougher year than this year, so to speak. So the good news is we still have time. And the Fed announced that it's further scaling back its quantitative tightening program, in which it's slowly reducing the bonds it holds on its balance sheet. So that's the good news. You can see the target rate at 4.25 to 4.5% as of March 2025 here. So investors took encouragement that further cuts could be ahead. This is all optimism, hope that we can get those cuts. But even if we don't get them, the economy is still bleeding jobs, and wages are not rising as fast as the inflation is rising in the American economy. So Dow Jones average rising more than 400 points following the decision. Of course, they wait to 2:30 or 2 o'clock, and then it flips a switch, and all of a sudden numbers are up and everything is good. But gold is increasing, so that tells you that investors are looking at gold up still above $3,000. Silver is above $32 per ounce. Dow rises, like I said, 383 points according to MarketWatch. S&P 500, Nasdaq ended sharply higher after the Fed sticks with forecast for two cuts in 2025. But this is all contingent upon if there's faster layoffs and if this inflation gets way out of control, well above the so-called allegedly 2% inflation rate. Then this all could change, and they can come out and do emergency austerity measures. Where basically the Fed pulls out more tools from the toolbox, basically print up more money and go to quantitative easing, and those ways get just dropped down back to zero. But if it does happen like that, then that means it would officially will be in a recession, and the news will start playing into that idea on the media. You'll start seeing that more. But Fed Chair Jerome Powell says that, quote, recession risk has risen. So even he admits that, but he's not worried about it. That's what he says here, quote. I'm quoting from him. MarketWatch.com. The odds remain low, but however, there's still a chance, and that's what many senior investors and people are forecasting. They say, look, we're not out of the woods yet. Just because we get a little things are happening on these fronts, we still see slower spending. A lot of Americans are cutting back spending, even though they may have the money, cutting back traveling. Cutting back on different items and things of that nature. So you can see that in this economy. Car prices are way out of control. House prices are way out of control. Mortgage rates are still above 6.5%. That's for the prime rate, with great credit and everything. So, things are still looking sticky here. We just have to wait and see what happens. Let me know in the comments. Do you think they're going to be two rate cuts this year? Do you think the Fed are going to leave the rates unchanged and do just one cut in September, October, or December? Or do you think they're going to end up raising rates by the end of this year because of the way things are looking? Let me know in the comments what you think. God bless. Talk to you soon. Happy Hump Day Wednesday, middle of the week. See you soon.